you very much. Thank you. Thank you very much, everybody. So I just looked over there. You won't believe this. There are 3 times more people standing over there than over here. It's crazy. So then I asked a simple question. Whoever set this deal up, why didn't they move this out to there so that those people could have been over here, right? Who are the geniuses that set this up? That's too bad. That's too bad. I feel so badly. There's thousands and thousands of people over there. Well, that's what we have to put up with in life, right? Real geniuses. It's great to be back in Minnesota today. So important for me to come here and campaign for your vote. I've been here many times before, as you know, and Hillary doesn't even, she doesn't even bother to come here. She should be penalized. Don't vote for her. She'll be a lousy president anyway, believe me. Now, she refuses to campaign in Minnesota. So do you really want a president who doesn't care enough about your vote that she never shows up? She never came here. She never came here. I'm asking for the support of every voter in the state, Democrat, Republican, Independent, first-time voters, of which there are many, 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 who want to take our government back from the corrupt political class in Washington, D.C. I'm asking for the votes of students and parents and retired Americans, union workers, African Americans, Hispanic Americans, and all Americans who are tired of a government that works for Wall Street and the special interests, but not for the people. Not for the people. It's time for all Americans to unite and take back our government. I'm very honored to have won the mock vote of the high school students in Minnesota. You know, that thing was all over the nation. Probably one of the reasons I'm here. We're doing incredibly in the Minnesota poll. But a couple of weeks ago, I kept hearing, everybody's telling me, did you hear you won the high school vote in Minnesota? I said, no, tell me about it. Well, the kids know better than we do, right? Oftentimes. Hey, here's a great vet right here. This election is all about creating a better future for our children. Our failed establishment has brought us nothing but poverty at home and disaster overseas. That's what we have, disaster. The wars we never win. We're tired of economic and foreign policies that have bled our country dry. We owe $20 trillion. It's time for real change that puts people back in charge and puts our people back to work again. This election will decide who runs this country, the corrupt political class, or you, the American people. That's the choice. She's with them, I'm with you. I used to be on the other side for a long time, but you know, I love this country. And I saw what was happening, not only the wrong direction, our country was going to hell. It was going to hell. The Iran deal, so many things. You could go over them one by one, and we'll discuss some of them right now. But I can tell you this is our last chance. We're not going to have another chance. 4 years, you can forget it. By that time, you'll have Supreme Court judges picked. 4 years, you can forget it. You'll never have another shot. This is it. So we have to get out. We have to vote. And you have to make sure, because I took a lot of heat. I came to Minnesota. I took so much heat. They all said on television, what is he going to Minnesota? You know, these guys have been saying this for me for 2 years, by the way. So far in 2 years, I've been right and they've been wrong. Okay? They've been saying, I can't believe he's going to Minnesota. You know, real geniuses. I can't believe he's going to Minnesota. Why would he be doing that? Why? He shouldn't be there. He should be elsewhere. He shouldn't be. And as I said, Hillary Clinton has not been here once. But he should not be in Minnesota. I love Minnesota. The reason I'm here is because I've been here. I know what's going to happen. I know what's going to happen. In 2 days, we are going to win the great state of Minnesota. And we are going to win back the White House. Real change begins with immediately repealing and replacing Obamacare. It's a disaster. It's just been announced that the residents of Minnesota are going to experience close to a 60% rate increase in your premiums. It's going to go a lot higher than that. Every single county in Minnesota is losing. And I will tell you, losing big in so many ways, but you're losing all of your insurers. You know that, right? The Democratic governor of your state, who pushed for this horrible health care, said the Affordable Care Act is no longer affordable. That's your governor. Premiums are surging, companies are leaving, insurers are fleeing, doctors are quitting, and deductibles are going through the roof. You have $15,000, $16,000, $17,000 in deductibles. Yet Hillary Clinton wants to double down on Obamacare, making it even more expensive. It's going to be double. I'm asking for your vote so we can bring sanity to the process, so we can repeal and replace Obamacare and save health care for every family in Minnesota and in our country. And I feel so guilty about those people over there. Oh, those poor people. They're standing there looking at a wall. You're worse than I am. So let as many as you can in. Thank you. Real badly. Don't worry, we're building the real wall. It'll be a real wall. It'll stop drugs from coming into our country. It will stop the poison drugs from coming into our country and totally poisoning our youth and plenty of others. Real change also means restoring honesty to government. First thing you should do is get rid of Clinton. Hillary Clinton will be under investigation for a long, long time for her many crimes against our nation, our people, our democracy, likely concluding in a criminal trial. No, you have to understand, it's a rigged system, and she's protected. General Cartwright's not protected, four-star general, could go to jail for up to 5 years 2 weeks ago. General Petraeus wasn't protected. So many other people were not protected. She's protected by a rigged system. She shouldn't even be allowed to run for president, I'll tell you right now. She is the most corrupt person ever to seek the presidency of the United States. My contract with the American voter begins with a plan to end government corruption and to take our country back from the special interests and donors. I want the entire corrupt Washington establishment to hear our words as we all say together, when we win on November 8th, we are going to drain the swamp. And I'm going to help you big league on immigration in Minnesota because I know what's happening to you. And it's not a good thing. It's not pretty. At the core of my contract is my plan to bring jobs back to our country. America has lost 1/3 of its manufacturing jobs since NAFTA, a deal originally signed by Bill Clinton and supported by Hillary. America has lost 70,000 factories since China entered the World Trade Organization, another Bill and Hillary-backed disaster. Minnesota ranks 4th nationwide for the highest share of jobs lost due to our trade deficit with China. Did you know that you're 4th? Well, at least you're not 1st. And then you're going to vote for the people that did that to you? I don't think so. Why do I feel good about Minnesota? I think... I'll tell you one thing. If I don't win Minnesota, I'm going to look real bad to those pundits that I do not respect very much. And there are some of them right up there, the world's most dishonest people. The media, totally dishonest people. They are the dishonest people. Hey, send a camera outside to take a look at the crowd also. And when Hillary Clinton was Secretary of State, our trade deficit with China grew 40%. Great job, Hillary. We're living through the greatest jobs theft in the history of the world. No country has ever lost jobs like we've lost jobs. Ford laid off 794 workers in St. Paul and moved their jobs overseas. MoneyGram laid off 408 workers in Brooklyn Center and moved their jobs overseas. Great Batch laid off 200 workers in Plymouth and moved their jobs, like so many others, to Mexico. Not going to happen, folks, anymore. It's over. It's over. It's over. Smead Manufacturing laid off 592 people in Hastings and moved their jobs to Mexico. IBM laid off 500 workers in Minneapolis and moved their jobs to India and various other countries. A Trump administration will stop the jobs from leaving America. And we will stop the jobs from leaving Minnesota, and we'll stop them immediately. It's one of the reasons I ran. It's one of the main reasons I ran. And so simple. If a company wants to leave Minnesota, fire their workers and move to another country, and then ship their products back into the United States through what will be a very, very strong border, I promise you, we will make them pay a 35% tax on those products. And I'll tell you what will happen. Not very complicated. They won't move. They're not going to move. They're not going to move. Our politicians are controlled by special interests, donors, and others. And some of them aren't very bright. You know, you've been hearing this for years. How do we stop this terrible outflow? They could have stopped it. Most people don't even think of these things. But let me tell you, you put a tax on those products when they make them. They want to move to Mexico? It's a whole different ballgame, folks. They're not leaving. They're staying with you. And when we lower taxes on business, which we're going to do, we're going to start new businesses. Businesses will expand. We're going to have a lot of jobs. We will also unleash American energy, including shale, oil, natural gas, and clean coal. We're going to put our miners back to work. We're going to put our steel workers back to work. We will also cancel all harmful Obama regulations that hurt Minnesota farmers, workers, and small businesses. Big league, you've been hurt. I'll tell you, honestly, because I was looking at the stats. I have, a lot of time on airplanes. So I look at stats. Doesn't sound like a very exciting life, but it is, actually. But Minnesota has really been hurt. So I say, what the hell do you want to put these same people back into office for? It's the same thing. We're going to be great for Minnesota. We will become a rich nation again. But to be a rich nation, we must also be a safe nation. And you know what's going on there. Oh, Minnesota. Oh, Minnesota, do you know what's going on? Do you know what I'm talking about? Do you know what I'm talking about? Oh, be politically correct. Just nod, quietly nod. The whole world knows what's happening in Minnesota. The whole world knows what's happening to you. Hillary wants a 550% increase in Syrian refugees pouring into our country. And she wants virtually unlimited immigration and refugee admissions from the most dangerous regions of the world to come into our country and to come into Minnesota, and you know it better than anybody. Her plan will import generations of terrorism, extremism, and radicalism into your schools and throughout your communities. You already have it. When I'm elected president, we will suspend the Syrian refugee program, and we will keep radical Islamic terrorists the hell out of our country. How stupid are our leaders? How stupid are they to allow this to happen? Here in Minnesota, you've seen firsthand the problems caused with faulty refugee vetting, with large numbers of Somali refugees coming into your state without your knowledge, without your support or approval, and with some of them then joining ISIS and spreading their extremist views all over our country and all over the world. Honestly, it's hard to believe. It's hard to believe. And everybody's reading about the disaster taking place in Minnesota. Everybody's reading about it. You don't even have the right to talk about it. You don't even know who's coming in. You have no idea. You'll find out. You'll find out. You've seen the recent terrorist knife attack in St. Cloud. A Trump administration will not admit any refugees without the support of the local community where they are being placed. It's the least they can do for you. You've suffered enough in Minnesota. And we will pause admissions from terror-prone regions until a full security assessment has been performed and until a proven vetting mechanism has been established. Horrible what they're doing. Horrible. And if you want people to just pour into Minnesota, all you have to do is vote for Hillary Clinton, because that's what she's going to do. Just vote for her. And I don't care where you come from. I don't care how liberal you are. I don't care how politically correct you are. How stupid this has been. How stupid it's been. And you get the brunt of it almost more than any other place. A Trump administration will also secure and defend the borders of the United States. And yes, we will build a great wall. Hillary supports totally open borders, there goes your country, and strongly supports sanctuary cities like San Francisco, where Kate Steinle was murdered by an illegal immigrant deported at least 5 times. Thousands of Americans would be alive today if not for the open border policies of Obama Clinton. There's the tragic case of 90-year-old Earl Orlando, a Minnesota farmer who was brutally beaten by illegal immigrants and left to bleed to death in his home. Earl's body was found with his hands bound behind his back, duct tape on his mouth, and blunt force injuries all over his head. His killers had criminal records a mile long, but they did not meet the Obama administration's priorities for removal. And yet everybody that knew these killers, everybody that knew them said, please, please, get them out. They should be incarcerated. Don't let them roam our communities. A Trump administration will end this nightmare of violence that you're having and that plenty of others are having. We will stop illegal immigration, deport all criminal aliens, and dismantle every last criminal gang and cartel threatening our citizens. We will also repeal the Obama-Clinton defense sequester, another great deal they make, and rebuild our badly depleted military. We're flying jets that are almost 20 years old, fighter jets. They don't even make the parts. They go down to the airplane graveyards and airplane museums to get parts for these planes. They don't make them anymore. That's what this country of ours, the United States of America, that's what we're flying. It's embarrassing, an embarrassment for our great, great young pilots and all of the people that are in our armed services. I'm honored to have the endorsement of more than 200 top admirals and generals and 22 Medal of Honor recipients and many more coming. We had an event the other night, 24,000, 25,000 people right next to Fort Bragg. We had tremendous Medal of Honor recipients. We had generals, we had admirals, we had military people. It was one of the most amazing evenings I've ever seen in a field. People as far as the eye could see. Hillary and our failed establishment have spent $6 trillion on wars in the Middle East that we never win, and now the Middle East is in worse shape than it's ever been before. It's a disaster. It's a disaster. And by the way, if I were involved with Mosul, number one, we wouldn't have been involved. Number two, we wouldn't have given them a 4-month notice. We are going to attack Mosul in 4 months. We are going to attack them because we think that ISIS leaders are in Mosul. So we are going to go in and get those ISIS leaders. 4 months, then 3 months later. Yes, it's about 3 months we're going to attack. 2 months, then 1 month, then a week ago. Well, we're getting ready to attack. Then they attack, and all the leaders are gone. And the people they left behind are fighting like hell. And they're using human shields. Think how bad it is. Whatever happened to the word surprise, right? Whatever happened? Surprise. The element of surprise. What happened? What happened? Why don't they go in quietly, knock the hell out of them, take them out, and have a news conference a week later? You know why? Because we have a president who is incompetent. He's incompetent, okay? We have a president who's incompetent. And I'll tell you this. He shouldn't be campaigning. You know, she can't do her own campaigning. So he's campaigning. His wife is campaigning. Biden, who said, oh, I'd like to take him behind the gym, me. I dream about that. And everybody said, oh, wasn't that nice? Oh, did you see what he said? Wasn't that cute? Oh, it was so wonderful what Joe said. Wasn't that cute? Now, if I ever said that I want to take him behind the gym, and you know what? They'd say, oh, he's a bully. He's a terrible person. He's a terrible person. These people are the worst, I'll tell you. They are the worst. Our leaders have dragged us into foreign wars that have made us less safe, shipped our jobs and wealth to other countries, and left our borders wide open at home so people flow in and drugs flow in like it's candy, like it's water. We send our troops to foreign countries to defend their borders, but our politicians refuse to defend our borders. That will change on November 8th, folks. Gotta do it. Gotta do it. I want to show these people they've been wrong about us for 2 years. 2 years. We got to show them. Thank you. Thank you. One of the anchors I was watching coming in were landing, and I looked at this massive crowd, and then I looked at an even bigger crowd right over here. And he's saying, yes, we're here with Donald Trump. He has a decent-sized crowd. We get more people at our rallies than Hillary gets with Beyonce and J-Lo and Jay-Z and John Bon Jovi. And Jay-Z and Beyonce used the most filthy language you've ever heard. They use words that nobody would use. And she comes out, oh, thank you so much. Thank you. Hug and kiss. But to the public, she says, oh, Donald Trump is lewd. Lewd. Give me a break. The language that I heard last night and that I saw was terrible. Honestly, it was terrible. And I like Jay-Z and I like Beyonce. I think it's fine. But the language was terrible. Now, what they don't say, the dishonest media, many of the audience, which wasn't nearly full, by the way, which they would never say, but many of the audience left during the performance because it was disgusting, the words, right? They left. You know, they're political people. They go in and now they're hearing all this stuff. They left before. By the time Hillary got up to speak, there was practically nobody there. They just came for the performance. True. By the time she gets up, they're mostly gone. Then she goes home and she goes to sleep for a day. We're going to make 4 more stops after this. Oh, Minnesota, you better prove me right, or these people will never, ever forget. They'll never forget. You better prove me right. Are you going to prove me right? I mean, really, what's your choice? Crooked Hillary? I mean, that's not much of a choice. A Trump administration will never, ever put the interests of a foreign country before the interests of our country. Never. From now on, it's going to be America first. To all Americans, I say it's time for leadership and it's time for big change. Just in closing, think about what we can accomplish in the first 100 days of a Trump administration. We are going to have the biggest tax cut since Ronald Reagan. And Hillary Clinton is going to substantially raise your taxes, believe it or not. We're already the highest tax nation in the world. We will save and protect your Social Security and Medicare. And Hillary wants to reduce and cut your Social Security and your Medicare benefits. That's what's going to happen. We will eliminate every unnecessary job-killing regulation. We want clean air, we want clean water, we want safety. That's what we want. We'll cancel every illegal Obama executive order. We will protect your religious liberty. We're going to rebuild our military and take great care, finally, of our veterans. Our veterans have been mistreated terribly. We will provide school choice and put an end to Common Core. We're bringing education local. We're going to support the men and women of law enforcement. These are great people. And save our Second Amendment, which is under siege. We will appoint justices to the United States Supreme Court who will uphold and defend the Constitution of the United States. It's time to cut our ties with the failed politicians of the past. Hillary Clinton is the candidate of yesterday. Folks, she's been here for 30 years. She complains, always complaining. I always say, I won the debates, according to virtually everyone. Did I win the debates? In fact, that's when our numbers, after the last debate, that's when our numbers started to go up like a rocket ship. We won the debates, and it was amazing. And these people are going crazy. This morning, they handed them a New Hampshire. New Hampshire. Oh, Trump is leading in New Hampshire now. You think she wants me to win? You think when they do that, they hand her... Oh. In other words, basically saying, oh, this is bad news. Now he's leading in New Hampshire. We're leading in New Hampshire. We're leading in the great state of Ohio. We're leading in a great state that I just left, Iowa. I think we're leading in North Carolina. I think we're going to win Pennsylvania. I think we're leading in Florida. You remember a week ago, before it all started, they were saying, I was watching, I said, oh, that's bad news. They said, Texas is in play. You know, I'm not supposed to lose Texas, right? And I've been there, and I had the biggest rallies you've ever seen, 25, 30, 35,000 people, lines that go for a mile long to get in. So I hear 2 weeks ago, Jim, Texas is in play. Donald Trump is in serious trouble. I said, Texas? Then 2 days ago, a man gets on television. Big cowboy hat, great guy. Sid Miller, his name is. And he said, I don't know what you people are talking about, but we have the longest lines going into the voters' booths that we've ever had in the history of the state of Texas. And there are a lot of Trump hats and Trump buttons and Trump shirts. And it turns out that we're doing records in Texas. These are bad people. These are lying people. These are people that rig the system. The media, they rig the system. They are bad. They're bad people. But we're doing really well. We're going to have some surprise on Tuesday. Oh, boy. That's going to be called Brexit Plus. Brexit Plus. And you notice she's now, she was going to end her campaign, go back to sleep, relax, take it easy. She was going to end her campaign very early. Now she's going to Michigan at 10 o'clock in the evening on Monday. And she's going, I think, to Philadelphia, North Carolina. She's not going to be able to make it, but these are minor details. They have it planned. But you know what? All of a sudden they're saying bad. They know better than anybody. This is a whole different ballgame. They don't know about us, folks. They don't know about us. We know how to win. We know how to win. They don't know how to win. We're the movement of the future. There's never been anything like this in the history of our country. Pundits have said it's the single greatest political phenomena in their lifetime. And I couldn't say it unless it were true, because you know what they'd do? Donald Trump lied today. They all say it. There have never been crowds. Bernie Sanders had a tiny peanut compared to what we've done. And we're going to get a lot of Bernie Sanders people because he was right about one thing, trade. Our country is being ripped off on trade. And those people are coming to us, you watch. And he should have never sold his soul to the devil. He should have never made that deal. If he wouldn't have made that deal, he would have gone down as a great political future. Right now, he has rallies and nobody even comes. We are fighting for every parent who lost their child to drugs and crime and gang violence. We are fighting for every community whose jobs and dreams have been ripped out and shipped to other countries. We are fighting for every American who believes government should serve the people, not the donors and not the special interests. I'm asking you to dream big, because with your vote, in just 2 days, can you believe it? This started in June 16th of last year. They said, well, he's a smart person, but he's got no experience. I've been dealing in politics all my life, by the way. I've supported all these people for years, right? He's got no experience. And then one by one by one by one. And one very smart guy, one top political person, they were sitting around a table, smiling about Trump joining the race. And there's one person who I won't name, but maybe I will sometime. He sat around the table and they're all having a good time about us, the forgotten people we'll call it, right? The forgotten people. People that are so great, but the forgotten man and forgotten women, they've forgotten. But he's sitting around the table and they're all smiling, having a good time. He said, I know him. Be careful what you wish for. Just be careful. And then one by one by one, it was so much fun. And now most of them, and they're good people, and they're capable people, governors, senators, really fantastic people. Some fantastic people, most of whom endorsed me. Dr. Ben Carson, a great guy. Mike Huckabee, a great guy. Many, almost all of them have endorsed us. But one by one, and now we have one flawed candidate left. And we're going to take it, and we're going to be it's going to be the big. It's going to be so. And you know what? It's not for me. We have no choice. The stupidity of our government, the stupidity of our leaders, the decisions that are made, we cannot let it continue. We have a trade deficit right now with the world on real goods of almost $800 billion a year. We have a trade deficit with China of almost $500 billion a a year. We can't let it to go on. And I like China. I have tremendous relationships. I made a lot of money with China, a lot of money. Great deals. Leases, condos, the Bank of America building in San Francisco, other things, through China. China's fine. I'm not upset with China at all. I'm upset with our leaders for allowing this mess to happen. And I'm upset with the people of Minnesota for allowing your mess to happen, but we're going to straighten it out. We're going to straighten it out. We're going to straighten it out. I've had so many letters and so many calls from some of the people that are in this audience right now. They're beside themselves. Folks, we're going to straighten it out. We're just 2 days away from the change you've been waiting for your entire life. Together, we will make America wealthy again. We owe too much. We owe $20 trillion. How about we gave Iran, we thought, $400 million in cash? And everybody got angry. And then we found out that we made a mistake. It was actually $1.7 billion in cash for the refugees. That was a lie. That was an Obama lie. He said it had nothing to do with that. That was a lie. You know what else was a lie? Obamacare was a lie. You can keep your doctor, you can keep your plan 28 times, right? We will make America strong again, and we'll be strong in Minnesota, believe me. We will make America safe again. And remember what I said. We will not allow what's happening to the great state of Minnesota to continue to happen. It's not going to happen any longer. And we will make America great again. Thank you, Minnesota. Get out and vote. God bless you. Thank you.